Hello, kia ora, g'day. I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube with your Australia-only forecast through until Sunday. And this is the big picture forecast showing you what is driving your weather at the moment. So on the wind and air pressure map at the moment, low pressure is in the darker shading. So plenty of low pressure around Western Australia and the entire top half of the continent from the middle portion northwards. As you go further to the south, especially in the southeast here, you do see an uptick in high pressure stretching out from the Tasman Sea through Bass Strait, south of Western Australia and out to the Indian Ocean. And then south of that, big storms down in the Southern Ocean. So there are quite a few moving parts to the weather at the moment, but the low pressure zones, especially off here to the northwest, they seem to be a lot more dominant in the week ahead. Of course, they're kind of drifting away from Australia at that point, but you get the feeling that there are things that the air pressure is changing, things are changing in the atmosphere further to the north here. And it's similar out to the northeast as well. There's a new low pressure zone forming around Samoa, Fiji area. That's going to be deepening over the next couple of days as well. So we're seeing a bit more life now up in the tropics, but it is still not majorly stormy up there. And when you look at the big picture here for Tuesday afternoon around Australia, high pressure all to the south here. Perth, you've got a hot, windy week on the way, hot and dry over in Perth and surrounding main centres. Sorry, I don't know the names of all the main centres just yet, but all along that southern western side of Western Australia, you're going to be seeing that or feeling that hot, dry heat. But inland, more of those heavy downpours returning to the usually very dry desert areas. So more thunderstorms are likely to be forming there. But the high pressure zone just south of Western Australia stretches all the way south of South Australia and into Victoria as well. So it's pretty dry in these areas. There might be a few coastal showers. It's not going to be much. Maybe a few heavier falls up getting closer towards Brisbane. And then inland areas, maybe a few isolated downpours around Charleville. But otherwise, a large portion of Queensland and the Northern Territory are actually quite dry going through Tuesday. Darwin might get a thunderstorm. Going into Wednesday, not a great deal of change. It looks a lot like Tuesday's setup, but the storm south of Tasmania, we talked about the yachts the other day in the solo race around the world. They're caught up in these big storms at the moment. So this is a major one, 960 hectopascals directly south of Tasmania. So that fuels windy westerlies across Tassie. It's going to feel like spring again, as it is in parts of New Zealand, also getting caught up with that. Low pressure forming in the Tasman, that might bring a little bit of rain relief here and there to Lord Howe Island, depends on the lining of it, but there is some chance there. And again, some more showers just north of Brisbane, but the bulk of the wet weather out again over the deserts of Western Australia. Low pressure zones, one to the north, another one out here just off the northwestern coastline of Western Australia, and another one even further away. So there is this pool of low pressure now starting to form into the northern part of the map. So by Thursday this week, we're seeing some more thunderstorms, some more downpours through central upper parts of Queensland, a couple of them along the coastline there, showers really, nothing too major in there. Large dry areas developing as we go through Thursday. And while it looks like it's raining over here in Perth, it's likely to stay dry. You might get a shower, but remember the pale blue, very bottom of the scale, 0.2 millimeters, and this is a 24-hour map. So that just might be a couple of spits falling from the sky, and that's really all you get. High pressure is dominating here in the southwestern corner of Australia, and it expands all the way past Adelaide and into parts of New South Wales and Victoria. And down in Tasmania, still getting that westerly flow, most of the wet weather over on the west coast. So as we go through to Friday, high pressure now south of South Australia, parked right there. Again, we still see some showers forming around Western Australia. It's not likely to be very much. The heaviest falls further up inland areas. And to the north, in the top end, you're starting to see some showers. A new low pressure zone just off the coastline of Darwin, worth keeping an eye on, although it is likely to stay offshore, but you never know. It could always just drift in closer. But at this stage, that little blob of rain there is a newly forming low pressure zone. So let's have a look at the weekend, because that low deepens off the Kimberley coastline. You're also seeing another area of low pressure forming around parts of the Kimberley and the Pilbara, and those heavy downpours all stretching all the way down to Esperance. The other change that's happening on Saturday, the red line is dropping southwards. So that means for many places this week, Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, Hobart, you're not necessarily feeling the heat to begin with. Quite a refreshing change for some of you as we start off this week. But as we go into the weekend, that red line drops southwards. It produces showers and thunderstorms along the Queensland coastline from the top to the bottom, and then a few lighter showers around the New South Wales coastline, not looking as extensive, and seeing some heavy falls coming in around Esperance as well. And as we go into Sunday, that red line really balloons further southwards, and it engulfs places like Adelaide, and it comes in close to Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane. And what that does is you feel the heat a lot more when that red line drops southwards. So most of Australia is feeling that heat on Sunday. Temperatures will be jumping back up to the 30s, mid-30s, and obviously inland areas will go above 40. And here's this new low forming off the coast of Western Australia. This one could form into a tropical cyclone. It is not 100% locked in though, but it is possible that that storm may form into a cyclone. But further to the east, not as busy. You have to go all the way out basically to around the Cook Islands, and that's where the next possible cyclone may be. Although again, low end doesn't look too major just yet. So large dry areas are on the way this week. The heat is coming back this weekend for those of you in the south who may not be noticing it quite as much as we kick off the start of this week. That's all from me. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again on Thursday with our more long-range rainfall update. We'll see you then.